I'm Dr. Lori. I'm at the Orange Tree Antique Mall in Winter Park, Florida, outside of Orlando, and I am Pyrex happy. So the set that reminds me really a lot of home to me is, of course, the big yellow bowl. I don't know if you can see it, but in the back there's a big yellow bowl. And it looks like it has been used. That is my mother's pasta bowl, okay, from the 1960s and 70s. But that bowl is very characteristic, and that would come with multicolored bowls, concentric bowls that go inside. And that particular bowl is the one that I always look for when I think of Pyrex. This set is $269 firm, and here's your mark. And this set again is the Amish set that we're seeing here. This one is the reverse of the other set. So you have, white on teal, now you have teal on white. That's what they did. They have one particular set, and what they end up doing is they end up saying we're going to use it in different ways. So this, of course, are the Butterprint bowls, and they want $269 firm for 4. You can see that the bowls command more than these bowls, which actually have a handle and a spout. I think the handle and the spout is much more helpful, but again, these particular bowls here that are just straight bowls, straight serving bowls for potato salad, for a hot serving dish like mashed potatoes, for those types of things. So $269 here is what they want firm, and typically on the resale value based on sales records, right? Based on what somebody actually paid when they pay Apple Pay or they write a check or they send cash or whatever they do. This particular set is worth about $250. They're a little bit on the high side, but I can see their reasoning for it is because of the condition and because you've got the full set. So they're using those 2 double whammies at the pricing. Dots like this relate to the Ben-Day dots of Roy Lichtenstein and the pop art movement of Lichtenstein and Andy Warhol. So you're seeing these kinds of pieces which come into the early part of the 1970s. Notice graduated, smaller to larger, larger to smaller, graduated and multicolored. They're sticking to the basic colors, the very bright orange, the very bright yellow, the very bright blue. The blue is really beautiful. And then the mossy green, because remember the green is indicative of the decade. So you're seeing us coming into the early part of the 1970s when you have the art movement of what's called op art, optical retinal stimulation art. And that kind of art, made famous by Joseph Albers and Richard Anashkevitz and others, makes your eye kind of move. It's stimulating the optic nerve. That's what these particular graduated circular dots will do. They'll actually stimulate your eye to move. So it feels like movement. Very popular in the 70s. So this set really goes along with fine art of the time. And these are the kinds of things I want you to understand and learn about and know about. So when you're trying to list this, you can connect it to other things and use it for keywords so you can basically get more people looking at how design relates to fine art. You want to see the mark? And here's your Pyrex mark. You're seeing the same mark because you're seeing the marks that's used throughout the 1960s into the 1970s. This is where bias comes into it. And what I mean by that is sometimes people will say, oh, I really love that and I'd pay more for it, right? So you want to be careful of that. This is a very popular set. I got to put on my glasses because this is maybe a different seller. They wrote really small. It says Pyrex 450 firm. See, these people know what they have here. And this particular set, well, it's not worth 450. It says 450 firm. See it here? Firm. These people are not kidding around. I would say this particular set, because it's so rare, is probably worth $400. What else would you look for? The eagle, okay? One of the things that's very popular in the 1970s and in design of the 1970s is the revival of the colonial American forms. So you're going to see things like the American eagle and shields and patriotic symbols. That happens a lot in this time period, and you're going to see a lot of this. So here's your mark. Look at all of these they look like little dots, but they're scratches through the whole piece. So now you've got to think about value. Now you've got to go, okay, I saw beautiful condition, beautiful condition, beautiful condition. And when you're in a thrift store like this and you see pieces in beautiful condition, you start to assume, oh, they all must be in beautiful condition. Don't be fooled. This is why you have to look at everything when it comes to condition. Now, these people recognized it, and I got to give them credit because they didn't just sit on their laurels. They basically said, okay, we know that it's not in very good condition. We only want 30 bucks for this. Here's your tag. I only want 30 bucks for this because they recognize the condition is not as good as the rest of them. By them doing this, and this is a good tip for those of you who are trying to learn about selling from me, this kind of thing, this is a good tip because it shows the buyer or potential buyer that these people are not unreasonable. They understand that they're not going to be able to command as much if they don't have good condition. That's a big condition problem. No, it's not a crack, no, it's not a chip, but all those little inclusions, abrasions is what we call them in museums. You know, I spent years in museums, and museums have a certain kind of training and expertise that they give us, that they train us with. So to look at those kinds of things. So that's what you're seeing here, the $30 piece. What is that worth? It's worth just about $50. What you need to remember about this is this helps to identify the 1976 Bicentennial celebrations and how many of the designs for home pieces that are used in the home, like Pyrex, are going to relate to the 1976 Bicentennial. So don't be surprised if you're going to see more of those as we go through. You're also going to see some other patterns. So here come the mushrooms. I think it had a little bit to do with what was happening in the 1970s, sort of the free love movement and what's associated with that. So mushrooms became very important and very typical of the design. Just like this set, and again, you've got a full set here. They want $139 for this mushroom pattern, pretty muted, and this one also is called, this is sort of a forest pattern that you see. So it's kind of like what you might find if you're walking through the forest. And good condition, and here is the mark. Notice all the extra information below the big capital letter Pyrex on this mark, because now you're getting a little bit later into that decade. So that's what you're seeing here. Now they do have all four pieces, and all four pieces are here. They want, I already forgot, $139 for all four pieces. I think that particular pieces, those particular pieces, all four of them in that condition are worth about $150. True value based on sales records where similar pieces sell. Now remember, there are some people who are listing pieces way high, there are some people who are listing way low, there are some people who let them sell it way high or way low. Why? Different agendas, different reasons, and of course they don't always know the market, they don't always look at the entire market, they only look at one particular online selling platform. If you're collecting these, and you have these funds that you're saying, I have a budget for these, this is a wonderful opportunity. Why? Well, because you have so many to choose from and you have full sets. I can't emphasize enough how much a full set will increase value. Between 10 and 15% is what it will go up. Usually it's 10% of full value when you're dealing with that. But I want you to look at these Pyrex pieces just so we can talk about condition a minute. So look at these as they sit. See? Notice how much redder this middle one is. Well, this person in their display of their shelves to sell them is smart because your eye will go toward the middle and it will not expect to see this. Now this is not in good shape at all for a piece of Pyrex. That piece has been hand washed, okay? That one's not in good shape. You can see the residue here. You can see the residue here. You can see how it's not very dark. Look at the comparison. Now this one, while it's darker red, it has scratches on it right here. So the scratches are difficult to see too. But again, this is why you want to see much lower numbers on pieces that are not in good condition because Pyrex was intended for use. So, you know, when it starts to look like these look, they really can't command too much for them. Okay, it looks like they've got 5. There should be 6, but they've got 5. And here's the number. I want to put this back over here carefully. I have to really move slowly, which I am not used to doing because I'm impatient and I like to move fast. I got to be careful with this. So, right, Pyrex bowl, $5. So they want $5 a bowl. All right, I can understand $5 a bowl. I think that's a reasonable price for these. And here is your mark. And again, you're seeing that same mark over and over again because the company uses that for these particular pieces. Look at the style and the curved. When you don't have sharp lines now. You're not looking at sharp lined geometric bowls. You're looking at curved. Like this bowl is really supposed to be a full square. Well, they curved it out. They basically rounded the corners. That's very much of the 1960s and 70s too. Rounded corners, not sharp geometric pieces of the 1950s, but you're seeing rounded corners and such of the 1960s. When it comes to Pyrex, you're looking for condition, you're looking for particular patterns, that matters, and full sets are where the big money is. Along with a really nice pink can opener, I had a pink oven. One of the apartments I lived in, I had a pink oven. It was the 1980s that I lived in this apartment, but that oven was from the 1950s, and it was kind of cool to have a pink oven. I used to like that. I didn't cook much on it because I burned stuff, but I like to have that pink oven. It was kind of cute. Who knew my expertise in pop art could teach you about Pyrex? More to come from Winter Park, Florida, outside Orlando.